Hey, this is Will from Liars Pacifist Podcast, and you're watching Beyond the Breakdown with Six Scars.
What's up, everybody? You are listening to Beyond the Breakdown with Six Scars. I'm the host, JT, and I am joined tonight by Tennessee-based garage gaze band Velvet Christ. Did I say that right?
Yep.
That is right.
So this is going to be really cool. This is actually the first time I've ever done a full band interview. And if I remember correctly, this is your all's first podcast. So thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's one song.
So let's do this kind of, we'll just go around introducing each other. So who wants to start?
We can start.
All right. So I know we got Nate, and then we got Brandon, we got Drew and Caleb. And I think, is there any more in the band, or is this all of them?
This is it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Section here, me, Caleb's.
Now.
So I first have to ask you about the name Velvet Christ. Where did you guys come up with that?
Yeah, so that's one that was brainstormed. We basically were just throwing together words in the chat, and so it's like in some ways it's a word salad, but we kind of put some meaning to it recently. Yeah, I mean that's kind of all that I've gotten on it thus far, but it's not really meant to be anything that's like super symbolic, but yet all sorts of meaning is found in it. So it's kind of just a what you call it. I can't even think of the word right now. What is that called? A conundrum, pretty much.
I get that. I like the name a lot because I was like, well, is there a symbolic meaning to it, or is it just kind of wordplay? But it's really catchy, and it definitely sticks with you. So props on coming up with the name.
Thank you.
No, not a problem at all. So we'll go around the table here, and I'll start with you, Nate. What were some of your early beginnings for finding music?
Yeah, so I was basically like a band kid. Always have been. Always been a music kid growing up. Always was listening to like a whole bunch of different stuff. Like early on, like I remember being in middle school and like listening to Fall of Troy and Rush, and then kind of like also going over to like Billy Stewart and some of these other like kind of like early R&B influences. Like I was all over the place, and people look at my iPod and they'd be like, "What the fuck? There's no consistency here." And like, I just kind of like throw a lot, kind of out there. I get bored listening to the same thing over and over, and that's kind of like the highlight on kind of how we write for Velvet Christ is like there's a good variety here. There really is kind of a panel for everything, and it's kind of also why our genre is really hard to pin down. we're kind of doing a whole bunch of different stuff. So, yeah.
All right. I was not expecting the R&B influence.
Yeah, no, all over the place. Like you look even like I still have a fuck ton of CDs. Just absurdly crazy stuff that most people do not have in their collection. It's pretty weird. Definitely unique.
All right. I dig it. I can get down with it. I'm all about diversity in music. Too much sounds the same to me. Brandon, you're next.
Excuse me. I'm also a band kid. All through high school, all through middle school, I played trumpet. But that kind of gave me a little bit of music theory. Something gets in your head over time. And I'm the newest member of the band. Play rhythm guitar, and I just kind of fit right in. I saw them play a show at I believe it was JJ's Bohemia in late December, and then by January I'm basically in the band.
Oh wow.
Like
that's quick.
We got his 2-month anniversary coming up soon.
Oh, that's awesome.
You get a PBR on me.
All right. I'll hold you to that.
Drew and Caleb, how about you all?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, I think I just messaged Nathan point, and we started jamming around, and then me and Caleb were in separate bits. He was looking for a drummer too, and a lot of it, we got to give props to Mr. there. He loves PBR. A lot of it was some original writings, and we just kind of went with it, and then we started writing as it went. It just,
Okay.
Other than Velvet Christ, was also a band kid.
Okay.
And I played in a few punk things, and then ended up, and then Velvet Christ now. So I'm very happy where I ended up.
So that kind of lent itself to the next question I was going to ask, which was the Velvet Christ origins, and then you all kind of just gave like a brief history of it. So that worked out perfectly.
Origin story on Velvet Christ is basically that Chattanooga music scene just goes, it's like a snake. It molts through different skins of different bands.
It does.
It's just like the circle of life. And so every time you got like bands like forming and reforming all at the same time, well, like Drew and Caleb's bands, both what they were in, kind of like both fizzled around the same time that my band did. So we all just kind of ended up on Facebook and we're like, hey, who wants to do this type of a project? Everybody got together, and honestly, we had a perfect recipe.
Exactly. And they came from the Howlers, and once again, has a different background than I. But came from the Howlers.
I came from I wasn't really a band kid. Like I did band for like a year, but it's only because I'd done it. They didn't even put me through marching band or anything like that. And then they took me in jazz band for a few years because they couldn't find a drummer that could play a full kit. And I was like, I'd do it. But my background mainly comes from like just practicing music on my own. Mainly, I guess you could say self-taught. Before Velvet Cross, I was in a punk band, and I did it for years. Brandon also was a part of it.
I was too, yeah.
He was a part of the band.
No,
Drew Swanson was a part of it as well. Man, right here was.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how we basically all met each other, was through going to shows. So go to your local shows and see local bands, guys. You never know who you're going to meet.
Absolutely. It's cool to see that you guys are basically formed out of the ashes of another project. That's a first on the podcast, so that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, and me and Drew, we've been playing another band as well for a long time called the Howlers.
Still do the Howlers,
and we
but
still
we're on
do
it
it.
now.
Yeah, it's kind of like an on and off thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is some of the inspirations that brought on the Velvet Christ sound? Because I'm a huge shoegaze fan myself. My actual Six Scars project is shoegaze for the most part. But like, I heard you guys, and I think you're all the first band that doesn't have a song out right now for people to listen to that I've interviewed. But I heard you all, and I was like, oh man, this sounds like some heavy early 2000s style shoegaze. But like, what was the inspiration for the style?
Definitely Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing, Deftones.
I think you nailed it with what you just said.
My Bloody Valentine.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Stone Roses for sure. I'd say some of it's definitely like The Cure and the Smiths in a lot of ways, like kind of how it's written in that vein. And then I think definitely like a small like sprinkling of a lot of Nirvana, yeah. Yes. Ray knows what's going on there. I'm thinking about possibly throwing in another Nirvana cover in there on the set, just a hint for those that really love our live shows. But
Let's do a Meatloaf cover.
Would you do anything for love?
I would not do that.
No Klondike bar for you.
Happy Meatloaf.
Love me till the end of time.
So you just said that you all have a Nirvana cover. Is it already in the set?
Oh, we've played On a Plane. We put that in there quite a while, but
we've also done Deftones. We've done Be Quiet and Drive.
Oh, dude. Underrated by them, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great one.
At one point, we had a Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus in there.
Did
Yeah,
Okay.
did the Pretenders?
yeah, we have Brass in
Oh, that's
Pocket.
right. Did Brass in Pocket.
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay. So you guys are really diverse in your covers.
yeah, and then we've got Everlong thrown in there too, just so that Caleb gets tired.
Yeah, you got me playing 16ths the whole time. I mean, I can do it. It's just like I can see why you got to be in shape for that, and unfortunately, I'm a little fat.
Hey, don't let him deceive you. That man, he rigs sets for a living up at the caverns. That man's worked with a bunch of yeah. That man's moving like 3 drum kits a day.
Yep.
So you're built like a brick shit house, is what you are.
He's built like that wall behind him.
So walk me through the process of how you all write songs. Is it something that is like a real quick process, or is it something that takes a little bit more methodical practice?
It depends normally. It really depends. Like we've come up with songs that like that, and then there's times where we've taken more time fleshing them out and stuff, other than like, oh, this is good how it is, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely had some that like came in as flesh and blood ideas that have kind of evolved. We've had some that have been like concrete ideas, like right now, or something good where it's like, this is what we're going to do. And we just execute it flawlessly. And then we've had other ones that have just evolved. And yeah, we've got some pretty cool stuff, pretty cool repertoire. And then, obviously we had a lot of these written before we actually had Brandon in the band. Brandon coming in the band has kind of helped us rewrite a lot of that stuff as well, putting a lot of new things in there. So, cool new element.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, what was a more challenging song for you to write, either lyrically or musically?
I think This Love was probably one of the harder ones to write. It's also sometimes one of the harder ones to play. But there's a lot of loud, soft dynamic going on in there. I think that's kind of more of like the style shoegaze that we're kind of closer to, if you want to say that. I definitely say we have really strong like punk garage type influence on everything that we do. So like, to our shoegaze purists, we're probably not your cup of tea, but we're definitely, for a lot of people who are pretty close to that, who will like a lot of different types of like dream pop, more washed out type stuff. That's definitely us. But yeah, I'd say definitely like This Love, because it's got so many of those things going on. Like you're really kind of passing through a couple different like genres and subgenres as you trip along in the song. So I can't wait to release some of these here when they come up. Just thinking about it, it's a fun time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to hear them, because I was going through your Facebook and I was like, damn, they only have, I think, 3 or 4 videos, and they're short. They're not full songs. And I'm like, I want a full song, because it's screaming to be heard, man. You all have something here, and I can tell you that right now. For me, I find the aspect of shoegaze to be very freeing creatively. How do you feel when you approach it? Is it more like a complex thing in your mind, or is it just like, I'm going to throw everything at the wall and then see what sticks?
Kind of the latter.
Yeah, I would say the latter, maybe. I mean, I don't really like defining anything,
Well, that makes 3 of us, I guess, the whole rhythm section, because like it's all about space.
I think it's interesting to define things. It's just like you said, like early 2000s, sometimes like hitting certain genres, certain timelines might make more sense to certain people. But yeah, I guess we just, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I know we've like kind of maybe lightly done like what we want to sound like, but like honestly, I feel like sometimes that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And a recipe for success, more like, especially for a group like this, is just kind of like letting it go And for me, at least, I'm writing predominantly a lot of the songs right now, but like every part of my kind of like internal music and my internal metronome is definitely based on like shoegaze. That's just what's in my head, and so that's just what comes out. So we've sit in that for a long, 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 long time, and I've listened to that genre and a lot of these bands for a long time, and it just it's a second nature to me at this point, son, and I love it. I love it. I'd never get tired of it.
Absolutely. I know, like I said, man, for me, shoegaze has always been one of those outlets where it's like whatever you want to do within the confines of it, there's really no confines. Like it's a genre that has endless possibilities, but like you said, where you're not wanting to define yourselves, I think that's a brilliant way to approach it, because it's okay to have a vision at first of what you want to sound like, but you're going to be constantly evolving and you're constantly going to be pushing yourself to be advancing. And I'm really stoked to hear that. I think that you all, like I said, I think you have something. And I think with the way that you all are approaching things, that it could go for a long way.
Yeah, man. We'll have to come back on here once we've released everything. I'd love to.
Dude, absolutely.
Reaction. Yeah.
I would be immensely thrilled for that. Sorry, there's a little bit of lag on my end. To be fair, this is the most people I've ever had on a stream, so of course it's going to be like, no, fuck you.
Happens, man.
So tell me what a Velvet Christ live show is like.
Brandon, you take that question. You've seen us live.
True.
oh yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, and initially that first show, I came to actually see you guys for the first time because Caleb kind of talked you up. And I'm like, okay, well, I trust his opinion, right? So I go to the show and I'm just doing pictures and a couple videos maybe, and then I'm really like, I'm jamming along to the band, like in my head, trying not to air guitar and look like a fool, but I was probably doing it anyway. But I heard the way you guys come across, at least in that show, is like, yeah, we're here to do a thing. It would be better if we had one more guy, but we're here to do a thing. And I think the crowd really responds is like to the loud, soft, loud kind of dynamic thing, and the shoegaziness of it, and the punk rock kind of. It all rolls into a ball, and we throw the ball at the crowd, and the crowd kind of bounces it around like tennis, kind of.
Okay. So it's definitely like a fan-oriented experience is what I'm getting from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so, sometimes, we're doing the local thing, which is great, honestly.
We have played outside of Chattanooga, though. Like, we've played Knoxville.
Yeah, Knoxville dug us. We had one of our best videos in Knoxville.
That's true.
Yeah.
Was that the Cherry video, or was that the Punk and Drag video?
That was actually, you may have not scrolled down far enough, but it was December, maybe somewhere around there. It was actually a Brickyard.
Okay.
Yep.
I think a lot of it, though, we just kind of show up. It's kind of low raw, not too much introduction, but then boom, like Brandon said, fast and slow. What do you know?
Hell yeah. So what is each of yours, like, what's your favorite part of doing the live show? Like, what's your favorite part of it?
I just like seeing people's reactions, honestly. I know opinions don't really matter at the end of the day, but I like to entertain a crowd. I like to see people jamming along, and it's nice to see that.
My favorite part is either the very beginning when we start Belly Up, like watching the crowd kind of react to that, because that's a cool song. We're gonna release
a killer riff.
Yeah, we're gonna have to release that one soon. And then either that or the solo on Death to a Fool. Like sometimes the build up on that is just awesome. And yeah, we've had some of our best crowd response. Might have actually been the Cherry Street video that you saw.
Yeah.
to the solo that we did that night. It was pretty awesome to see. And yeah, I mean, those 2 points right there are like great points where we get to be able to kind of like connect with the crowd. And then I'd say probably the most fun I've ever had on stage though, playing a song, Be Quiet and Drive, when we played JJ's last time.
Oh yeah,
That was great. That was fucking great.
I really like the Dalton one too.
Dalton was a fun show, yeah.
Oh yeah, that is somewhere else that we played other than Chattanooga.
Yep. And they have awesome burritos.
Yes.
Bucket Burrito.
That.
Shout out to Buck Burritos.
Unofficial.
Unofficial, not sponsored.
So now, are you all based out of Chattanooga? I was trying to gather that on your page, but it was not letting me see.
We're regionally based.
Okay.
So I'm up in Knoxville, but these guys are Northwest Georgia. So we meet in the middle, I guess.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I live in Chattanooga.
I live in-
Oh, yeah, Drew lives in Chattanooga, but these two guys, yeah, these
Like 5 minutes away.
It's not far.
And Brandon lives in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, which is like 10, 15 minutes away from where I live.
Yeah, not far at all.
So how long of a drive is it for you all to do like a practice session?
Nathan's got the farthest to go.
I think I'm the latest one, and I live in Chattanooga.
Yeah, you're the fucking latest one, and I got an hour drive.
It happens, man.
I'm not lying. I'm sorry, Nathan, but I'm usually the latest.
And you live like 20 minutes.
Okay,
from-
well, I get off of work usually earlier, but that's a.
Well, it's really cool to see that you all, you're able to make it work through that little bit of distance. I know I've heard some bands where they've just given up after X amount of time because of the distance. So it's really cool to hear that.
Yeah, there's some bands that make it work. Like we got some friends in a band called Field Hockey. Shout out to Field Hockey. Their singer lives in, I believe, like towards Myrtle Beach. I believe in that general area. I could be getting that wrong, but like he lives like a good minute away, and they've been making it work for like 2 years, 3 years.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Howlers in there with Doty being in Florida.
Yeah,
That's
Doty,
true.
Florida.
yeah. Our singer in the Howlers is all the way in Florida.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah,
why we've been
7 hours away. I clocked it in when I went and saw him last year.
So I was going to say, is the Howlers like an online based project, or do you all do it in person?
We do it in person.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to have a podcast about it, just let me know.
That's a bit when Cody left from his Florida vacation, whatever he does now.
Yeah.
So I'll
Permanent vacation.
so I'll do some rapid fire questions just right off the top of your heads, okay? So I'll go around just like I did last time. So what's the first story that comes to mind from a show?
From any show or a Velvet Cry show?
Any show that you've ever attended or a Velvet Christ show. Just first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh man. Geez. Okay. First thing that comes to mind for me, like you say craziest thing that happened at a show. I was in a band once where we covered Keep Your Hands to Yourself. And if you know that song, it's got a really long like country solo in it. And it's
That
basically
sounds awesome.
yeah. So if you've ever seen Roadhouse, it's basically what happened was this guy basically started fighting this other dude in the middle of the set, and we just got to the solo as soon as they started fighting, and these guys were just duking it out. And so like I walk up to the edge of the stage, and we're sitting here playing. I was playing bass, so I could just sit here and like watch this all day. So these guys are just fighting, and it's in kind of an empty bar, and just nobody is coming to stop these guys. They are just fighting and fighting and fighting. Like I swear, it was like a 2-minute, 3-minute brawl. And these guys just kept going all the way through the solo. And then they finally kicked the guy out at the end of the song. And it's like they timed it perfectly with our set. It's just it was just kind of a surreal moment, but I'll never forget that. But That was an awesome time. That was actually also in Chattanooga at the Spot. R.I.P. to the Spot.
Oh man. Well, that's going to be an interesting one to top. What do you got, Brandon?
Well, the craziest thing I've done personally at a show I can remember, which was also at the Spot, incidentally enough. I snapped a guitar across my leg because it was the last show I was playing with our old band. No offense. Caleb was my drummer. And that left a bruise, about a golf ball sized bruise, for a good month afterwards. But the crowd dug it, so I'm glad I pulled that off.
How did you manage to do that?
It was a really thin neck. It was a Les Paul Jr., like straight up, and like the neck was like this. It was tiny.
Probably not.
So I figured I could break it, and then I had no thought of, oh well, there's a truss rod in there too, so there's a big chunk of metal going directly into your leg. But I don't regret it at all.
I mean, it made for a great moment, obviously. Drew and Caleb, how about you guys?
I'm not going to speak for both of us, just for me, but he was there. We couldn't make a show, so me and Caleb filled in. We threw in a little quick set, and I broke my low E on my bass, like the big string.
Oh man!
And it was bad because I had no replacement. And like I can transpose, but like when you're going from like low end to high, it just didn't work. I mean, it sounded good. It sounded, but yeah,
It made sounds.
I ended up ripping the A too because I was mad at the end of it. Ripped it. Didn't damage anything on the bass, but yeah, I was sad. But that went fine, but broke the low E, which was surprising to me. Didn't realize I was that strong.
I got a story, and it's from an old No Offense show. Brandon wasn't at this one. It was actually me and the guitarist and singer at the time. What happened was that we didn't have a bassist that night, and we were playing a post-apocalyptic festival in Alabama, like Piedmont, Alabama, which is close to Gadsden. And we're having fun, we're having a good time, and all of a sudden, like this dude dressed as a Raider just charges and gets knocked into Drewski's amp, knocks the amp over, almost knocks my drum set over, and fucking just, it was crazy. Like I'd never seen anyone get down like that at a show, at least in a long time. Like I've seen some fun stuff. You ever seen anybody get thrown through a wall?
I got thrown into the wall at Capone's in Johnson City. Does that count?
You've been to Capone's?
Yeah.
Place out. I've been up in Johnson City once. I was like, "Where's the venues here?" And this randomly, this guy was like, "Hey, you look like you play in a band." Well, I work at this place called Capone's. I'm like, "Shit, really? Well, I need to play."
Dude, they are always looking for people. So, I mean, just like give them a shout and they will probably let you go play.
We're going through the wall.
Yeah, we're going through the wall.
You definitely will.
Oh, is that the Velvet Christ mascot?
Yo, say hello, Nil.
Oh, look at those eyes.
Yeah. He's just chilling.
My fat cat just jumped off the bed, so I just heard his chair shake. He weighs like 25 pounds.
Oh, you're scary, Nello. You're too scary.
So let's do another rapid fire here. Like outside of music, what are some of your all's hobbies?
I play disc golf and pool.
Okay.
I like long walks on the beach. No, I like going hiking and occasionally like just going to explore different places, just see what's up, see what kind of music stores are around.
Yeah.
I like movies, video editing. I like making music, just on my own. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Horror movies specifically.
We can tell by your Jaws shirt.
Yeah. Swatch.
Shout out to one of the greatest movies of all time.
Maybe not the greatest film of all time, but definitely the greatest movie of all time.
There you go.
I eat a lot of food. I don't know if that counts as a hobby, but I do. I eat a lot of food.
That's a great hobby. I want that hobby.
A lot of tots.
I love suggesting people places to eat, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. But like Caleb, I like to hike. I mean, I like to hike sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I like to go swimming too. It's just like
we like to go hike, and we've done that forever. We'll go
Yeah.
hiking, bouldering, or walking.
You all should. I'm based out of Abingdon, Virginia, and you all should go hike the channels. It's like a 5-mile hike if you do it the right way. Unfortunately, my significant other and I went a few weeks ago, and it took us on the 15-mile route. And halfway through, we're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
No difference, right? No, it's huge. Yeah. I mean, even
a
we're
weekly workout all in one day.
like,
God damn.
was me and Caleb are from around Lookout Mountain Pit.
yeah.
Kind of runs into that too.
Okay. So, Brandon, I know you said that you do video editing as well. So, like, what kind of video editing is in it?
Usually music type stuff. Back around 2010 or so, I didn't really play guitar, but I did follow a band around as their cameraman and / annoying guy singing backup vocals that were never asked for. And eventually I just kind of got decent at it. I had no kind of software at the time, but I had like 8-9 years of footage that just got destroyed because of another fat cat. I had an old brick of a hard drive that was like this.
Oh,
And I was over at Caleb's house years and years ago, and Caleb's cat Dumpy knocked it off of the coffee table and just destroyed most of the footage. It was all corrupt, doesn't work anymore. And that kind of bummed me out for a while on the whole video thing. But every now and then I kind of dip back into it because I'm just such a fan of the technology and the fact that we can reproduce images like on the fly. And it's insane to me, but it's so beautiful that we can do that. And we take it for granted absolutely every day.
definitely.
So it's fun to do something creative with it instead of just acknowledge that it's there.
Oh, absolutely. That brings me into another question that I like to ask everybody, and it's like, if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing right now?
Drugs. Just kidding. No.
That is fair.
No. Probably more pool and disc golf and ultimate frisbee that I would otherwise not be doing.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm a creature of habit, but I love music. It's so hard for me to stay away from it. Like, honestly, if I wasn't doing music, I probably would have had a different life, you know?
Yeah. Anybody else?
I basically would. I'd basically, I don't know.
Caleb's a stagehand.
Yeah, like I'm a stagehand,
Yeah.
so like I'm around music no matter what. It's
Yeah.
just like if there's something else that I would be doing, it's probably just, I don't know, maybe just warehouse work and then come home, play some video games, go hike, just be a simple man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm around music, so like it's literally in my blood. Go and do music no matter what. If it's setting it up, playing it, like there's no, it's just hard to describe, really.
No, I completely get that. I know where you said that you would constantly be around music, and then Nate kind of said the same thing. Like, music is really hard to get away from. For me, it's like, if I can't create, I find myself going stir crazy, and then I just become like angry inside.
Same. It leads to depression, and depression leads to the dark side.
Yeah.
Create is like a good stuff. It's a good way to how would I put this? I'm not the best at describing things like I used to be, but creation is just like a language that the universe gave to us, and it's just something that we don't really see. We just kind of do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
Like
yeah.
Like just music in general, film, him working at the computer. I mean, like it's just a universal language that we just all do, and we don't really see it.
So, if it's okay with you all, are you all right if I take it to a little bit of a serious tone for just a few minutes, and then we'll step it back up?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That is kind of the essence of the podcast, but for each of you, what is kind of either some of the anxieties or fears that came with either starting in music or being in music?
That's a good question. I'd say in some cases, it's getting a friend. Well, I've never felt like that, but playing the right thing is always what I focus on.
Yeah.
But I think commonality in anything too.
I guess
Playing what other people want to hear, especially when I'm jamming like Nathan, or playing what I would like to hear.
Yeah.
I guess mine would be having to be away from my kid, play a show. It's not really an issue. It's an issue every parent's, going to face along, like how much would I rather spend a little bit more time with my son than I would normally get, or spend it with the band and do something creative that he can actually appreciate. He comes to the practices sometimes, and that's a tough decision, but it's one I'm willing to take because I know he'll understand growing up. Like, you got to have an outlet no matter what it is.
Yeah. I absolutely agree.
For me, it's the imposter syndrome, and it's kind of also the oh man, these people hated our set. We're not getting as much crowd response as last time. And, you kind of like have those like small doubts, but then they really don't last long in a group like this. Those are definitely kind of fears that I've developed from other groups. That have maybe had some not great shows here and there, and we definitely paid the price in other ways. We've been blessed here in this group to really not have a bad experience like that. We really do consistently put on a great show, and I can really trust these guys to show up, play a great show, and everybody's very satisfied at the end of the night. We have very few that aren't like that. And even some of those that are very few, we still get some great payouts and some great feedback, and a lot of people that want to find our music and find our merch. And, it's weird. You'll have nights like that, and then I'll just have something just out of the blue that's just really reassuring. So the cool thing about doing this group is that I've not really had too many of those. So it's kind of hard to say. But definitely the imposter syndrome. But it's like cliche. It's almost like it gets everybody. So, yeah.
I'd have to say with me, it's the I don't know, just kind of being looked at and like laughed at. But along the way, you kind of learn not to really care when it comes to things like that. It's not really a big deal. But another thing is just like I've never wanted to develop a big ego or anything like that. Like I've always wanted to try and just stay as humble as I can with my music, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. You all have really wonderful answers, and actually it's different answers than what I've heard from that question before. So thank you for that. Brandon, especially, where you said it's time away from your kid. And I don't have any myself, but I could imagine, the sacrifice that you're willing to make for the sake of art. And I mean, that's something that I know you won't lose track of, and neither will the kid in the future. So, I mean, good on you for that, man.
Exactly. I try to keep him up to date on things because he genuinely likes it,
Absolutely. And then as far as, the imposter syndrome, oddly enough, man, I did a podcast a year or so ago, and they were talking to me, and I told them the exact same thing. I was like, I have imposter syndrome. Like, I don't feel like I was deserving of what I had been given for so long. And it's like, sometimes I still have to check myself, and I'm like, do I actually no, I fought for this. And then, you know, it's that little bit of reassurance that can help you go on through the day. And like you said, you know, it's very rare to find that in a band, or especially like just a group of people where it's constant reassurance, because I've heard a lot of bands where they're just like, you know, very negative. Obviously not putting out any names or anything, but just like they're very negative toward their members. And it's like
every scene has them. Every scene.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be an elitist or anything like that. I think that, you know, if there was more of the raising all ships with the tide kind of mentality, the music scene would be so much better.
Right.
And then where is it Drew? Is that the one that was the I'm trying to get you all straight over there. It's Drew.
Caleb's on the left actually, and Drew is on the right. So their names are
okay. See, everything is mirrored. So I've been trying to figure it out.
Yeah, you said the ships, you know, what rising water, you know, like that type of stuff. That analogy is, I mean, in some ways, like it's indicative of what the Chattanooga music scene is, and a lot of what this band is a product of how good that music scene has actually been over the past couple of years. Just because of the way that people are approaching it with mentality, we have a lot of people that build each other up. We have a lot of constructive criticism here. It's not negative. The negative bands, I mean, sure. I mean, there's a lot of them in a lot of different places. Here, it's minimal. It's very minimal. Very supportive community here. We've had a lot of people come out and support us that did not have to and ended up actually coming away with a show that they really, really liked. To me, that's amazing because we have a lot of people that gave us a chance just because we've been a part of the scene for so long. And I mean, you don't have a lot of people that give you those good graces, but you know, we continue to get that. And, you know, we continue to want to put on, you know, great shows for the people in our community and the people that want to come out to see us, and, you know, people that come out to see other bands that see us incidentally and, you know, different lights and stuff like that. And so, you know, just the what Velvet Christ is truly a product of the community that's been created here in the city.
Absolutely. It sounds like there's a very healthy scene in Chattanooga. It's not always the case, so I mean that's really, really cool to hear. Speaking of shows, I think your next one is at the Boneyard on the 29th of this month, and that's in Chattanooga, Tennessee as well.
Yep, Boneyard over there. It's right off of yep. Okay, they got the poster right there. Yep. Shout out to social pictures. Shout out to the Cuts. Shout out to Sunbleach. Love all you motherfuckers, and we will see you. Cheers soon.
Sunbleach blew out my eardrum. Those guys are awesome.
Oh man, I want to try and catch a show pretty soon. My problem is some health issues stop me from driving, so it's really hard to get out in the scene, but I try and support as much as I can, like doing this. So I know we are coming up on time. It's about 47 minutes now, but I do want to ask you about the album that you all will be hopefully releasing soon for my ears to behold.
Okay, so we have 6 songs, all original. They're all stuff that we've written. I think we put in a lot of work into this. And so big shout out also as well to Chandler from Havoc. Check out his band Havoc. They are awesome. We recorded down at their studio over at Rubber Biscuit. They really, he took care of us and, you know, got us what we needed. And he really had the sound that we wanted moving forward to be able to get everything done. So just super happy with how everything turned out. Like I said, I mean, we're very, very, very much like anticipating this release. It's been a long time coming. We became a band in, I believe, what was it?
2020 last year.
Yeah, it was April. Close to April, I believe. Maybe March or April. Because we played the 420 show at the other tattoo shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we did that one, and that was like our first show. So we're really a year old, like tomorrow.
Wow.
So very young as a band, but we've played a lot of shows, and we've had a lot of people respond really positively to what we've done. And we worked up, that show pretty quickly, and we'd worked up into a lot of shows. And we just finally got everything together here to be able to record and get the album together, and it's just come together absolutely fantastic. I'm extremely excited for it. I know these guys are too, and shit, I'm running out of things to say. All right, you guys go, man. I'm really excited for it, but I'm
I love it.
Point.
No, I'd love to hear that, man. It's really cool to see you all excited about the album. That means that you all put your heart into it. It's something that you can't wait to get out in the world. We got a comment here. Garrett.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, Garrett.
Garrett, okay, D4.
What up, Garrett? D4 booking.
What up, Garrett? Yeah, the D4 movement.
Garrett,
Let's go.
Garrett's got his own little festival coming up in October. It's called
Fuck around and find out.
Fuck Around and Find Out Fest. It's
Okay.
So this will be Fuck Around and Find Out Fest 2.
The Deuce.
the dude.
Number 2.
That's awesome. It's really cool I always love when I get some of the fans from the band that chime in on the comments, because a lot of times it's like things that I will have no idea what they're referring to.
Yes, sir.
So what all can we look forward to in the album? I mean, is it rooted in the sound that you all have now? Is there some experimentation going on? I mean, what for each of you, what song are you most excited for people to hear?
I'm excited for This Love is a Radical Change. It just has a very 90s sound to it. It sounds like something that would have came out in the early 90s, maybe even late 90s. But I like the sound to that one.
Okay.
I would say Other Side for me. That's the right term.
Oh yeah, that's another good
Yeah.
one. Others.
I like the bass I play, and I think it incorporates a lot of Nathan and what we play, but also in a different way. Where we're heading to, maybe a hybrid. I don't know.
I think it's Right Now for me. It's
I
right
think
now.
it's right now for me too.
Yeah, I mean that's just like such a high energy song. Like if
That's-
there's off of this EP, that would be the single, 1000%.
Okay. How about you, Brandon?
I think it's probably right now for me too. And I'm just saying, I might just be saying that because I've been listening to it all day, finishing that video. But there's such a false end, if you will, in that song, and it always gets the crowd. And that's the most fun ever, is when they're like, "Holy shit, the song's over," and then we keep playing.
Yeah, we have a little live thing that we do every now and then. If we have all four of us have a beer on stage, we'll stop when that little fake ending comes and start drinking, and then put it down and then go.
Yeah.
Psych them out.
And then we end it.
That's awesome. I love hearing that kind of crowd interaction. It truly makes a magical show, when you can engage with the audience like that, and it gives to you as well. We all as artists, we feed off of others' reactions when we're pouring our own art, and so it's really cool to hear that.
That's kind of what makes this project unique in a lot of ways, is that we're not really a recording project primarily. We're a live show project. And that's kind of unique in a lot of different ways. But we all love doing live shows, and, merch and all these other things, and recordings and all that, they kind of come with it. But I think we all primarily really do love to put on a great live show, just because, like I said, the scene here, very healthy, man. You can have a really fun time coming out in just one night. The 2 shows that we have coming up are going to be monster. So, for us to come on the podcast here and, keep kind of coming up the ascent.
Oh yeah, dude.
Awesome at the same time. Yeah. Somebody else want to introduce the 2 shows that we're going to do? Well, okay, we did one of them. Let's introduce the other show that we got coming up.
So the next one we got is actually a show in May. It's our only May show that we're doing.
The only May show.
But we were playing with Chattanooga Legends, also known as the bravest band in Chattanooga, The Claw. And then we have Surf Rock Legends, Daikaiju coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've never thought that we'd ever get to like open for Daikaiju, but The Claw, they came around and asked us personally, and they were really it's really nice because they're in my former band we've played shows with them, but them just reaching out and asking us if we wanted to play with Daikaiju, which like their shows are the most intense shows I've seen in a long time. They set their instruments on fire, they get the crowd participating with like the drums and whatnot, and they set the top of the band on fire.
Oh, wow.
They when they come, they bring it. They come packing heat, literally and figuratively.
Vince,
That's awesome.
I'm here for it, man. I'm actually writing new material for us for this show.
Oh, wow.
This show. So yeah, I mean, we've always talked about doing like, so Velvet Christ has like very strong punk influences. Also, thanks to Drew Swan, egg punk and crust punk specific influences from that. Yes, and so we're gonna be throwing some type of that in there too. So we really are like garage gays in that vein. Like we're kind of like punk shoegaze, also in a lot of different ways like that. Man, like we're trying to get fucking dirty on people. I want to get really though. Yeah, so I mean, we're about that, man. We'll see, dude. I got some pretty nasty ready to go, dude. I'm excited to throw it out.
So now, do you all have a title for the album yet, or is it still a work in progress?
Caleb?
Saturnalis. It's based off the ancient Roman celebration of Saturn, which was from our calendar at least, December 17th to like December 23rd. And we have a logo that we've kind of incorporated the whole Saturn. It's like the original Saturn, I guess. Not logo, but the word I'm looking for is like the symbol of Saturn. It's kind of like a cross, but it has like this weird like tail on the end of it. And we've kind of been incorporating like little themes of stuff like that into it.
Okay, so Saturnalis coming soon, hopefully. One last thing I know, and then I gotta let you guys go. But where can they find you on socials?
They gotta find us on Facebook. They gotta find us on Instagram.
Instagram, it's Velvet Cross 423. And I believe it's also the same on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Funny you have 423 because I grew up in Bristol, Tennessee, so the area code was 423.
Area code's really broad.
Yeah, it's a very broad one. All the way in Chattanooga, Cleveland, it's everywhere.
Hellfire. Well, guys, I want to say thank you. This has been such a wonderful episode. I know it was a little chaotic sometimes with the lag, so I do apologize.
Oh, it was great. I always enjoy getting to talk.
With that being said, I want you all to know that when you do release the album, I want you all to come back on here, and I want to go through it track by track with you guys.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
Say less. Say less.
And real quick, huge shout out to Nate Sam for hooking me up with you guys. He did such a great job. He is such a beloved friend of mine. I can't thank him enough. He's been so gracious with letting me get to know you all, and I'm very appreciative of it. So with that being said, thank you for going beyond the breakdown with Six Scars tonight. How you all feeling?
I feel
amazing,
tremendous.
I'm feeling good.
Something good.
I'm feeling something good. You can find Velvet Christ here. We're trying to drop this. Okay. 6/22, June 22nd. And we're going to have the album release show Right now, it's going to be Yellow Racket Records. Okay, it's going to be Red Pawn. We got Chud Sport coming out, and Chud Sport's actually also doing the album artwork for this album coming up. So extremely excited to get all that stuff done, get that all put back together. So yeah, check us out, Velvet Christ 423, Velvet Christ also on Facebook as well.
You heard it here first, guys. A band that's been, in existence for a year, coming out with a killer debut album, Saturnalis. I believe they just said on June the 22nd of 2024. And you're not going to want to miss this. It is something that you guys have not yet listened to. Then you need to check them out. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram. And with that, I will let you guys go, and I hope you have a wonderful night. And thank you so much again from the bottom of my heart, truly. Thank you so much for coming on here and letting me get to know you guys.
Thank you, JT.
Yeah,
thanks for having us, man.
See you guys.
We'll see you later.
See you. You all have a good night.
Peace.
So everybody, that was freaking Velvet Christ. What an amazing band to get to know. Definitely be on the lookout for them on 6/22/2024. They're going to be releasing Saturnalis. Real quick, I wanted to give a plug not only to Velvet Christ, but their Facebook right down here. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Be sure to share, comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you need to get this band going. Also, while I am in the process of doing plugs right now, be sure to follow the Beyond the Breakdown podcast on Facebook and on YouTube. I am doing my best to get everything up and going right now with the Scariverse. The Scariverse is going to be a X amount of podcasts for my own hobbies and interests. Right now, I have Beyond the Known, between history and myth. I just dropped the first episode of that. It's a very brief summary of the incident of the Titanic. There's more to come from that one. And then there's also a brand new thing where you can now donate to the pod with Cash App, and anything over $15 will get you a 6-Scar CD of your choosing. With that, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and thank you again.